Earlier this year, I started thinking through a decision for months before I finally pulled the trigger. And today, I want to walk you through how I actually got there. Because honestly, the decision itself isn't really the point of this episode. What I really want to talk about is what made a decision that scary actually feel doable. And I think no matter what season your boutique is in, you're going to run into a moment like this at some point too. Let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Boutique Bookkeeper Show, where we take the mystery out of your money and make your numbers make sense. I'm Megan, virtual bookkeeper and bookkeeping coach, and I love helping female boutique owners just like you finally feel confident about the financial side of your business. If you're tired of feeling anxious every time you have to open QuickBooks, or if you're making sales but constantly left wondering, where did all that money go? You're in the right place. We'll cover all things bookkeeping and taxes, all in plain English, so you can be less intimidated by the numbers and finally start to use them to help you grow a profitable boutique. So, if you're ready to stop avoiding this whole numbers thing and start keeping more of the money you make, grab your coffee and your calculator and let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Boutique Bookkeeper Show. I'm Megan, and today we are going to be talking about a decision that took me months to actually pull the trigger on. And at some point in business, every single one of us hits a moment where we have to make a big, scary, seemingly high-stakes decision. And here's what I've noticed. Most of us, I include myself in this, we tend to freeze in those moments. We go back and forth, we ask everyone we know for their opinion, and sometimes we make decisions based on our guilt or fear or, frankly, just a gut feeling. But here's what I want you to walk away with today. The thing that turned my decision from terrifying to doable wasn't some big burst of courage. It was actually looking at my numbers. So let's start with the real reason behind this decision. So over the past year or two, my business had genuinely grown. And I want to be clear here, that growth is something that I've been so grateful for. I have enjoyed mostly every minute of it. But also in that same stretch of time, we've added a fourth kid to our family. And now with 4 young kids at home, the workload that I was carrying just started catching up to me. And I was basically staring down 2 different options. One, I could either hire more help, which honestly felt like just adding another thing for me to manage, or I realized that it was time maybe I would have to scale back. And so that was the decision that I was weighing, and ultimately I decided that it was better for me in this stage of business to scale back. And what that really means here is that I ended up letting go of nearly half of my done-for-you bookkeeping clients, and I also said goodbye to both of my part-time employees. Now, as I mentioned, this decision took me a while to make, but I can actually trace the start of this back to February when my husband and I were sitting in the airport in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, wrapping up our vacation. And as I was sitting there, I remember sending a message to one of my business besties, someone who runs a very similar business to mine. And I was just kind of venting to her. And I asked, do you ever experience the days where you just want to burn it all to the ground? I don't know if any of you can relate to that feeling, but I was definitely feeling it in that moment. And don't get me wrong, I love the work that I do, but first quarter is a busy, stressful season for those of us in the accounting industry. And I don't even do taxes. But as I was sitting in that airport, I just knew that with my current capacity, I needed something to change because I was not looking forward to the mountain of work that I knew I was returning home to. And I knew that next year wasn't going to be any better unless I did something about it now. And that conversation with her is really what started me down this whole journey of figuring out what I needed to do. But here's the thing. Knowing that something needed to change didn't mean that I moved on it right away. And for several months that followed that, guilt kept me stuck. Guilt about my clients, guilt about my employees, guilt about that feeling of stepping back when I feel like I was supposed to want to keep growing. And if you've ever sat on a decision because you felt guilty for even considering it, I want you to hear me when I say that guilt does not mean that you're making the wrong call. It just means that you care, okay? I care so much about my clients and the ladies that work for me. I wanted to do right by them, but I also knew that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. So, what actually got me unstuck to take action? Well, it was looking at my numbers. I knew exactly what the done-for-you side of my business was bringing in. I knew what it cost me to run it. I knew what it cost me to pay the employees to do the work that they were doing, and I knew the revenue that I would lose by scaling back and letting go of some of my clients. I knew what all of this looked like financially before I even made the decision. And that clarity is what helped me move forward. Don't get me wrong, it didn't remove the fear and the guilt completely, but it gave me something solid to actually stand on instead of just guessing and hoping. But this is what I want you to take away from this, because this isn't just about my decision to scale back. Maybe your version of this big decision is deciding whether you should open a second location, or maybe you're contemplating if you need to close up your brick and mortar location altogether to go completely online. Maybe your decision is trying to decide whether you can hire a store manager to help remove you from more of the day-to-day operations, because maybe you want to scale back your time and spend more time at home with your families. So whatever your scary decision is, the principle that I kind of talked about today is going to be the same. You're not going to be able to make that confident decision on numbers that you don't actually know. So knowing your numbers will not make the fear disappear completely, I can say that, but it can help give you the confidence you need to move forward and actually make a decision. So here's what I want you to remember. You do not have to feel 100% ready to make a big decision. You just have to know your numbers well enough to make a decision with clarity instead of just guessing and hoping for the best. Earlier this year, when I started contemplating all of this, I was so incredibly grateful to have my business bestie to talk through this decision with. So I just want to extend that invitation to you. If you have a big, scary decision that's sitting in front of you right now, and you just need someone to talk through it with, please send me a DM over on Instagram at Finding Freedom Financial, and I would love to be that person for you and help you kind of think through all the logistical things, help you think through your numbers to help you determine what would be the best path forward for you. But that's all that I have for you today. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode. I'll see you there. Hey there, and thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that I shared something that helped you feel just a little bit more confident in understanding all the numbers in your boutique business. If you found this helpful, don't forget to go and leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That's the best way for other boutique owners just like you to find this podcast so I can help them feel just a little bit more confident in their numbers as well. If you have any questions about what you heard today, hop on over to Instagram and send me a DM at Finding Freedom Financial. I'll be back again real soon, but in the meantime, go implement or take action on something you learned today. I promise your future self will thank you.